Good morning, everyone. How many of you know someone who has suffered from cancer? Please raise your hand. Yeah, this is actually quite a lot. We are very aware of that issue, which is why we are revolutionizing the way the food industry is measuring acrylamide, a cancer-causing substance in food. The chemist by my side is Felix, my name is Johanna, and we are Hodge Sensors.
We all enjoy drinking our morning coffee or eating fried foods. What few people know is that all these things contain a substance called acrylamide that is classified by the World Health Organization as both cancer-causing and toxic. Acrylamide is contained in many things of our daily life. And as it happens, these sectors also have huge market volumes. What we do as Hodge Sensors is we focus on the biggest one of them, which is the food industry, at a total of $370 billion that is relevant to us. So what are the foods that we are talking about? Acrylamide occurs when starchy food is produced at a high heat. So it's mostly fried foods like chips and French fries or baked ones as cookies that are at risk. But actually it's also found in many things where we would not expect it in the first place, like cereals or even in baby food. As no one of us wants to put himself or his baby at any risk, there are regulations in place to protect us all. In Europe, there have been limits issued recently in April by the European Commission, and in the US, there are guidelines by the FDA and on a state level. So the industry really is under great pressure to keep the acrylamide level under control. The problem that arises from this is that it's currently very difficult to find out how much acrylamide is in the product, and the companies need to spend a lot of time and money on that. We calculated what this comes down to for a reference company that we know from our customer interviews. It's an Austrian chips company and they produce about 27,000 tons a year. This isn't a lot because Austria is a small country, but even for them it adds up to $210,000 a year for measurements alone. Why is this so expensive? The industry status quo looks like this. The food is first produced at a factory and then a sample is taken. The sample is transported to a lab. This takes about a day and also costs money, and there it is analyzed. Labs charge you about $100 for the analysis and it takes them a week to get it done. After the whole week has passed, you finally get the result back and you can tell whether the food is safe and it's ready to ship out to customers. We changed this process by offering a tremendous improvement. We provide customers with a way that they themselves can come up with acrylamide results at their own factories immediately. We do that with the acrylamide biosensor. That's a device where you first take a sample of the food, then you put a drop of it on the sensor, some chemistry happens, it is recorded, transmitted to the computer, and there it is analyzed by our software and the result is displayed immediately. So what is this product that can offer such an incredible advantage to our customers? At the heart of it are single-use sensor strips on which the sample is applied to. We also offer a buffer solution because food usually is not in a liquid state and so the companies can dissolve the solid samples. Then we have a reusable adapter that connects the sensor strips to the computer where we have our own software analyzing the data. Of course, we seek to protect our product against potential competition. The great thing about biosensors is that you just cannot reverse engineer them. And also, we will have a huge first mover advantage because currently there's no product on the market that caters to the needs of the food industry. Once we're on market, we will also engage in continuous research and development so that we can stay ahead of potential competitors. In addition to these three things, we will also explore the possibility to obtain a patent for a sensor as this would offer us increased protection. As for the competition we're facing, as said, the field is dominated by labs that offer analysis as an external service. A measurement comes to about $120 in total and it takes a whole week to get it done. The good thing about the labs is that you do not need to have any additional equipment, no skilled personnel, and the result is always reliable. There's an alternative called an ELISA test, which costs about $10 and takes 6 hours, but you need to have skilled people, you need additional equipment, and most of all, the result is not always reliable because it depends a lot on human performance. Our biosensors come at about $80 per strip and it takes only 10 minutes to get the result. You do not need to have skilled personnel, it's an easy to use product, and you do not need any additional equipment aside from our own test kit. The result will always be reliable. We do that by offering a third-party certified product so that customers can always trust the results they get. We are much cheaper than the traditional method, and actually we are more than 120 times faster than the labs. So all in all, we offer an easy-to-use product that will always give a reliable result.
Based on our expertise in the industry, we will focus on the potato-based product producers as our first initial target group. So 440 companies worldwide are producing 9.3 million tons, which sums up to a market volume of $20 million. We intend to sell worldwide, and we think this is possible because already 75% of production are happening in the EU and US. Despite the market risk of a growing trend of a more healthy and fit lifestyle, the potato-based product industry is still expected to grow by 4% until 2023. We want to reach our customers through direct sales and being present at trade fairs in order to establish a very strong network as well with our customers. So what we actually do is we produce biosensors and assemble test kits, and that works as follows. We buy the sensors from our suppliers, we prepare them with the relevant chemistry, and then sell them to our customers. At Hodge Sensors, we put our customers at the center, which is why we identified customer relationship management as one of our key activities. So in order to get our customer accustomed to the product, we sell the test kit at cost, but we will derive a very steady revenue through the constant sales of the buffer substance and the single-use biosensors. So during this whole process, we focus heavily on research and development in order to be always ready and up to date to our customers' needs. Putting all those activities together, we form the business model of Hodge Sensors, which is really profitable in the long run. Based on market research and customer interviews, we came up with around 160,000 measurements a year in the global French fries and potato industry only, which means that when we enter the market in year 2, which is the first year we are actually selling, we can already sell over 4,000 biosensors, and then in year 5, we already expect sales of over 20,000 biosensors, which then sums up to sales volume in the most likely case of $2.2 million. So yeah, entering the market with a sales price of $80 and direct costs incorporating overheads and direct costs of around $56 per sensor, we can already attain a gross margin of 30% in year 2, which is actually the first year we are selling. And we expect this gross margin to grow from 30 to 80% in 3 years due to our customers' need and economies of scale. So yeah, we focus on research and development, so the first 2 years, in order to be actually able to deliver a high quality product. But what we can say is that when we enter the market, we already predict a positive cash flow in the first year, and then we predict breaking even in year 3. Having started in March, we were already able to establish partnership with future customers in May. Today we are here, and we are very happy to be here at the Global Entrepreneur Challenge. During the whole research and development process, we intend to develop lean based on our customer feedback as well as industry tests. Right now, we already plan on our next generation product in order to be able to also serve other different industries with our biosensor. So yeah, having not been around for that long, we do already have established relevant partnerships, for example, in the fields of development and industry tests, and already in talks with funding organizations and companies. So yeah, in order to get started, for the first year, we would need $166,000, which we think is possible to reach. What we think is also one of our main strengths is that we do have different backgrounds and come from different areas, which is why we provide knowledge in the areas of business and technology. So yeah, we are Hodge Sensors, and we are helping the food industry to measure acrylamide, a cancer-causing substance in their products. We are very happy now to answer all your questions. Thank you.
So what you are receiving right now is a prototype adapter and the corresponding sensor strips.
Great. That was great, guys, and very. I'd almost call it explicit. So well done with the business plan and identifying how you're going to roll this thing out. I do have a question. I do have a little bit of experience around getting at least pharma products to market, and obviously lots of regulations, et cetera. And it's probably not the fact that you can't do something, which is great. It's more the idea that who's the independent source to test. So have you gone through thinking about that? Because most times they will actually say you can't test yourself.
Of course, yeah. So we aim to get a third-party certification, which is offered by some organizations worldwide. And we can get that in the course of half a year once we have the product ready. And then it is proven that the results of our sensor are as good as the reference method that labs are using now.
Okay, and do you need a different physical person to do it, is my question.
No, we don't need a physical person. As follows, like food industry can measure acrylamide with our sensor without having it to certify to anyone.
Okay.
So they can just measure it in order to have like consumer protection or because they care about sustainability. But this certification we aim to get in order to be able for companies to really apply to what the FDA and the European Commission are demanding, because those are the institutions.
Absolutely. Okay, great.
Right, outstanding job as an industrial engineer by trade. I like the, cut out the middleman
Thank
sort
you.
of concept here. It's really good. Question for you on the competition and how the market would react, right? And so you mentioned the ELISA test that's out there. What kind of penetration does that have? Where are they in the development? So that's kind of part A. And then part B is, what do you think all the labs are going to do when you cut them out of the process? And how do you keep them from competing and doing the same thing you're doing?
All right, so for the ELISA test, you can order it online any moment. You can get it by tomorrow. But you need to be trained in the field of ELISA tests in order to apply it. And most companies refrain from hiring a person just for this specific problem, and it has a penetration of pretty much 0. Yeah. For the, what was the second part again?
So when you cut out all the labs,
Oh yeah,
what are they going to
got
do?
you. Okay, so what the labs do, they offer tons of analysis, and acrylamide is just one of them. If they lose this one, they still have 1,000 others, and it is not their core business to do acrylamide.
But the thing is, you don't get a bulk discount or anything for sending more chemicals in. You still have to pay $100 for acrylamide. So you don't have any advantage of losing a lab over the biosensor because it's cheaper and faster.
So well done, guys. A little knowledge I think all of us would probably be able to use from, is there, any of these data put on the products today, or the products listed as saying that they are free of the acrylamide?
Yeah, actually there is. I can show you. It's even from the US, because in California regulations are strict. And so when you go to 7-Eleven or Starbucks there, you can find these signs that have to warn you about the acrylamide danger.
But will I find it on a potato chip bag?
Yeah, this is a potato chip bag from
So that
7-Eleven.
is, oh, okay, great. And then the second part of this, you talked about the strips prevent re-engineering. Can you talk a little bit about how that's the case? Because I would imagine the same chemical substance that's being tested
This is
is the same everywhere, isn't it?
So yeah, it is the same. You would have to use this. You cannot once you have the strip from, if you buy the strip from us and you look at it, you cannot really take it apart, because all we do is we apply a bioactive layer, and this is on the nano scale, and you cannot get the bioactive layer off of the strip and look at it, what it is made up exactly of. This is not possible to do.
And also in the development process, like I'm from the business side, but still it's hard to really figure out what actual chemical reaction really can measure acrylamide. So when you have the knowledge within your company, other companies are really like having difficulties of reproducing it.
Congratulations, that was a nice presentation. Can you tell me how you focused on the potato segment of the food industry first, and then what do you think would be next after that as you grow the company? I do like when companies focus on one core market and establish themselves and their brand and the capability before trying to do everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're focused on this market because I worked as an intern in a French fry factory, and that's where I found out about this problem. And I realized that there's a need for this thing, And for future sectors, we are planning on expanding to other food products. We already talked to a company that makes granola bars, and we also talked to a company that does all the carton packaging for McDonald's in Europe, and they said that they need to prove that they're acrylamide free as well.
Well done. I'm interested a little bit more in the finances. All of your information seemed to be around the biostrips, but there's a lot that has to come before that. There's software and a hardware piece. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, so like the software is programmed by ourselves, so that's included in salaries for Felix because he can do that, and Lucas, he has an ID. And then we also sell the buffer substance, which we sell for $20, including in the test kit, external of the test kit, and then we buy it for $7. And altogether we sell the test kit at cost, so we sell it for $2,000 US, and the adapter itself costs us, when purchased, $1,850. And so then we include some test strips in order to make them a custom. It's like a razor blade business model.
Okay, so for a company to go into this, they need, what, $3,000, something like that, to get
2,000 only, like 2,000 contain the first strips, and we plan on direct sales because we know that in the industry it's very important to have like a network and partnerships. So we go there, we present them the test kit, like how the adapter works, like there has to be a guideline and everything, like maybe you show the misuse prevention slide, because it's really important to really know the product when you do it during the production process. And then they buy the test kit from us, and then constantly the buffer substance and the strips.
Okay, well done, thank you.
The audience is up to speed as the judges in terms of the questions. That's great. The same set of questions coming across with regard to reverse engineering. Have you considered looking at, this is my question, there's a number of products like this which are available for home use in terms of water testing, things like that. That seems to be a much larger market than perhaps a $2 million a year market in a few years. Is that something you've considered?
Well, for acrylamide, we do not really see the purpose in home testing because the products you buy at the supermarket comply with regulations. So customers are probably not interested in retesting that at home and pay for that. We do not see a need for this. Yeah.
Also, we considered the idea also selling to McDonald's directly, for example, but then it's like the process of diluting the sample and like dropping it on the sensor needs at least some knowledge, and they have it in potato-based product producing companies, but they do not have it at McDonald's, for example.
I guess I'm thinking more if I'm making something on the barbecue, or if I'm making my own, if I'm stir-frying things, or if I'm deep fat frying something myself at home, can I measure the levels of carcinogens that I'm creating for myself to eat?
So it would be applicable at home as well, but we think $80 per measurement is a bit costly when you cook at home, and it's not really a target market of ours. Yeah.
But good point. Thank you for the input.
Thank you.